What's up, party people? Welcome to the mountains of Idaho. It's below 32 degrees out, and we are staying comfy and home. This is Tarkus Jude Mossberg from Facebook. Jude's Junk comic book shop and YouTube channel, although my shop can't be seen until I get my website all integrated with Facebook, which is a real pain. They just changed it like last month. So someone just asked a very interesting question. Do I price all my comic books what I want to sell them at, to try to sell comic books, or do I price them 20% higher to try and, you can walk by, baby, it's not that important if people see my family. Do you price them at what you want to sell them at, or do you price them higher knowing some people want to negotiate? So this is an interesting philosophy in sales in general. Be careful who you get good at selling to, because you'll attract more of those kind of buyers. So there's all kinds of sellers of comic books on Facebook. There are, and they cater to all target markets. You have people that are too busy to haggle. They feel like that's a waste of time. And then you have people that will drive to Mexico just to haggle because they just love that. I'm not saying either one's wrong. The idea that I want to bring across is be careful what you get good at, because you're going to attract those kind of clients. So as you attract a client, then invariably he may give a reference later. So you'll attract people that are like that guy typically. It doesn't matter if you're selling homes, health insurance, lawyer services, doctors, careful who you get good at serving, as you'll attract more of those kind of buyers. The haggling part, some people love it. They're like, if I can't get a nice little discount right off the top price, then I don't feel like I've gotten a good deal. Even if they're selling it, 30% below fair market value, it's like, will you take a little bit less? I get some of those clients, sometimes if I'm pricing it really low. And then you have the clients that are looking for a good deal. They don't want to deal with haggling. I know I've said that already, but I'm trying to make a distinction between the two, maybe even tell you which I prefer to serve, which is maybe contradictory to what I'm even suggesting. I don't typically haggle. That invites a lot of people. So whenever someone puts up a buy it now auction on, they'll say, hey, this book is $10. Invariably the same guy underneath that says, I'll give you $7. And then the next book's $15. I'll give you $12. And you can tell that he's just taking $3 off and he's offering, and he'll just go through the whole buy it now. And I'm sure that just annoys the heck out of the seller. At the end of the auction, that makes sense that you might take discounts, and maybe that guy doesn't want to wait till the end, so he's giving you his offer up front. But you can see that guy is not going to get a book. And then other guys just like, I don't even want to, waste that time. When people usually ask me, what's the lowest price you'll accept? If I don't know anything about them, if they're just coming out of the woodwork, I usually will put the homework back on them. I don't take homework, I give homework. That's usually how professionals think. Salespeople take homework. I'll jump through any hoops to give you what you need. That's what a salesperson does. A professional, a consultant doesn't take homework, he gives homework. So I give homework. I say, if you can find it for less, you let me know and I'll try and beat it. That's your job to go off and do the work. I'm not going to do that. And so sometimes people will go off and find something for cheaper, and then I'll beat it. And some people are like, I'm not going to do the work, you do the work. And I'm like, I'm not going to do the work, you do the work. So I don't attract those kind of buyers that want to give me homework and have me jump through the hoops to satisfy what they need. It's just too much time and effort, and I don't want to attract those kind of clients. Granted, though, I do have different tiers. I have a price for financing. I have a price for protected sales, protected purchases, purchase protection, and then I have a cash price. So it depends on how someone wants to buy. And then I pretty much stick with those prices unless someone says that they can find it for less. Now that's different than, I have my regular clients. So I have my ideal clients and regular clients. And if someone comes to me and they're like, hey, I really like this book, I think it's overpriced, I'll give you X in cash. I always welcome cash, for obvious reasons. So I like giving regular clients. Regular clients are the ones that I like working with. And so if you deal with a client that always likes to haggle and you don't mind it, and you want to price your books 20% higher, and you're going to work with this guy, let's say all year, he's going to always come back and always going to undercut you $3, and you're okay with that interaction. Maybe you don't have a lot of life. Maybe you don't have a lot of responsibilities. Maybe you don't have a wife, a child, and a job, 3 jobs, and you like just BSing on social media. Then it's great. But if you got a lot of stuff going on and you don't have time for that, what's up, little man? He just got his birthday, and what'd you get? An electric motorcycle from Uncle, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's about 32 degrees outside, a little bit of snow up in the mountains. Ski season is almost upon us.
And there's frost down here.
And there's frost. So anyway, that's why I say be careful who you get good at, because you know, if that guy likes your services, he's going to come back for more. And he's probably going to undercut. Hey, yeah, take 30% off, 30% off. So if you change your pricing strategy and you're like, okay, I don't want to deal with the haggling anymore, I'm going to just lower my prices, that guy's going to still expect it. And as soon as you stop giving him that discount, he's going to think, well, I'm a loyal client, and now you're not even giving me a discount anymore, so I'm not going to buy from you anymore. So then he might have a bad taste in your mouth because, like, you didn't, you know. So my point is, again, careful who you get good at. If you have set prices, and you can have higher prices, there's nothing wrong. There is no one single fair market value. There's a lot of different ways to add value. And I always talk about this, that, you know, there's different auction houses in different places. And when you see 3 prices listed on a price guide, cover price, go collect, GPA, in one day, and they're like hundreds of dollars apart, you may not understand how that can happen. Well, different auction sites provide different services, and there's international buyers. And when I buy something off of an auction that reports, I may not pay sales tax. So on a $5,000 book, that's a lot. That's $300. And so on mine, it might look like someone got a deal for $300 less, whereas on eBay or Heritage, it shows $300 more. And that might be because the buyer is calculating in the tax. And so you got to be careful when you see all these different prices show up. It could just be something as different as that. I bought an expensive book where shipping, they had to insure the full book, and they had to use a third-party UPS center, and it was $400 for shipping. So if you don't know what the shipping is in advance, you can't tell by those GPA. So anyways, my point is, you can't always tell by previous past sales what a price is. That's the fair market value. Some people say 90 days. Some people might say the last 2 weeks, especially if there's trends going down. But if you want to overprice your books to negotiate down, that's certainly one strategy. And if you want to try to just stick with it, it also depends on how fast you want to move them and what your business strategy is. And maybe you're okay taking a loss. A lot of people sell all their inventory off at the end of the year to take the loss and to recoup that cash to reinvest in something else. Well, if cash flow is not an issue, then you don't need to recoup that cost. And if you're really a collector, then do you really care if you're holding on to those books for another 2-3 years? So there's different people out here. There are people that are just straight business people. If they didn't make a money, they may not be into comic books at all. Because once you start becoming a business, it changes everything. You know, you like Pokemon cards. As soon as it becomes a business, it becomes a chore rather than a joy. You like snowboarding. As soon as it becomes a business, it's a chore versus a fun hobby. So anyways, same idea. Be careful what you get good at. And that's a philosophy for life. If you start working in a certain career and you're getting good at something, be careful. You're going to get stuck in that. If you're volunteering at church and you're getting good at one thing, be careful what you get good at, because you're going to continue doing that. As you get better and better at it, you're going to do that more and more. So that's good advice if you're going to school. That's good advice if you're just getting a job to get through the summer. It's not just a job through the summer. You're getting 3 months of experience. And if you're going to build off that experience by accident, this is how people end up in jobs for 30 years at 50 years old. And they're like, how did I get here? Well, you spent one summer doing this, and then you built on that skill in the winter, and then the next summer you went back to that job and did it, or whatever. And I'm talking about young people maybe. So this is why I always tell my wife, this is why I don't do dishes. Isn't that right, honey? Careful what you get good at. That's right. Be careful what you get good at, young man. He's our dishes boy. What is something I don't do around here because I don't want to get good at it? I do not change the cat litter. I told my family when we got the cats, I am not cleaning up someone else's poop again. We just went through 4 years of that. It is over. If you want cats, Oldrick has to do it every night. I have no idea how to clean out cat poop. I'll just make a mess. Be careful what you get good at. Happy hunting, guys.